Okay, Jesus prophecies, part two. Try to get into the text a little bit more on a few things, just so we could bring a little more clarity. 1 John 15, 29. There is only one God, and there is no one else. The glory of God will not lie or change His mind. Um, in the Bible, the children of Israel, because of their sins, will be driven into exile and scattered, and eventually turn back to God. Deuteronomy 4:27, Leviticus 26:40 through 42, and Leviticus 44 through 45, found all over in the Jewish scriptures. That's the fact. Okay, they will be driven because of their sins. They will be driven into exile and scattered, and eventually turn back to God. That's the pattern. Jeremiah 37, verse 7. Nothing remotely like this is found. Okay, that's Jeremiah 37, which reconfirms that that's going to be the pattern, and it has been. Nothing remotely um, like the writers of the New Testament had the text in front of them, but they unboxed it and they changed it to however they want it. And there's plenty of verses, like I said, Micah. I've gone over them. I've been going over them: Jeremiah, Isaiah, Genesis, Matthew, especially, and all that. In fact, Matthew, um, um, fulfillment is, for Jesus is especially true for Matthew. So let's just see what, since there is none of this fulfillment is found anywhere in the Old Testament. By the way, none of it. Okay, but I know that you guys will pull Micah 5:2, and I went ahead and did a video on it, and all these other ones, and Jeremiah and everything else. And so, but let's just go with Matthew. So, Mark, first of all, Mark was written like in 70 AD, and Matthew and Luke was like 10 years later, maybe 15. So 80, 85 AD. So Mark, I want to do Mark. So Mark 13:6 through 8. Mary will come in my name, claiming I am He, and many will come in my name, claiming I am He, and I will deceive many. And when you hear wars and rumors, wars, don't be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation. These are the beginning of the birth pains. So now we look at Matthew 24:1 through 2. Jesus left the temple and was walking away when his disciples came to him because they wanted to know about the end times. And they said, truly I tell you, Jesus says, when he's asking about, do you see all these things? Because he's talking about, they're talking about the end times. Jesus left the temple and was walking away when his disciples came to him to call his attention to its buildings. He says, do you see all these things? He asked, truly I tell you, not one stone here will be left on top of another. Everyone will be thrown down. Okay, so like I said, they're thinking that because this is also written right, obviously after the destruction, so it's not really a prophecy, is it? I mean, the destruction was at 70 AD. So yeah, it's not hard to throw a bullseye that way. So, but they did write it afterward, and so they knew it was going to happen. But they also thought that it was the end times, and that's why they're using this language this whole way through. I just want you to understand that. Luke 20, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, which they already knew, it happened already when they wrote this, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And then let them which are in Judea flee the mountains, and them which are in the midst depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein. For those be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to give them give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon the people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and they shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. So time of the Gentiles is talking about Rome, and when the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, then redemption. Well, the Roman Empire did not pass until the 5th century, right? I mean, that's historical fact, and they then reinvented themselves to the Holy Roman Empire, which is technically still here. Okay, so go to Luke 21, 27 through 28. It's talking about the Messiah there, right? No doubt about it. That's a reference to Daniel. The reference to Daniel is 7:13. Daniel 7:13. That's where Luke is getting that. So we'll start with Luke 21, verse 27 and 28. Remember, that's from Daniel 7:13. The reason why I say that over and over is because Daniel 7:13 is specifically talking about the Messianic age, not the Messiah. Read the text. But Luke says, "And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh." See what I'm saying? So Luke 21 through 32, this generation will not pass away until all has taken place. That generation did pass. You see, that was a prophecy. That was a prophecy, and all that was prophesied definitely didn't take place. No one in the first century saw the restoration and redemption or the return of the Jews to the land, to the Lord. Okay, so Matthew says in 16:28, "Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death, and they see the Son of Man coming." Luke does the same thing, 9:27. None of the disciples were taken up into heaven without dying. Were they? What does Christ mean by that statement when he says, "I will tell you the truth, some who are standing here will not taste death before they see the kingdom of God"? Well, none of the disciples were taken up into heaven during that when Jesus was allegedly, taken up into heaven. Okay, so I don't know. Read the context. Don't believe the Christology. The writers here did think that this was the end times. Don't fool yourself. Thank you.